Hey, what is going on, my friends, and welcome back to another video on the channel. Well, yesterday on the channel, we went over a company named 88 Energy, ticker symbol EEENF. Well, yesterday, at pretty much like 2 or 3 hours after that video was released, we got some news that was honestly not the best, and I think that it may have some type of impact on the stock price. So what I wanted to do today is I want to go over that news. I want to talk about, what exactly it means for the company, what it means short-term, mid-term, long-term, and what I think it means for the stock price. Now, after that, I will let you guys know what I will be doing with this stock, as I did start a position in them right after that video, and then the bad news came out. And so with that being said, I want to kind of just give you guys just all an update on what was going on with this company and what I plan on doing with them going forward. I hope you guys are looking forward to today's video. If you guys do want access to this information as soon as I do come across it, if you want access to my trades, my trade portfolio, if you want access to my daily newsletter and a whole bunch of other benefits, definitely go down to the link in the description. It'll bring you over to my Patreon, and that's where I'm fully transparent with all that information. Also, if you are looking for a way to start your own investment account, if you are looking to expand out into a new brokerage, definitely I 100% recommend using the referral link down below. If you open an account with Webull right now and deposit $100, you will get 2 free stocks valued all the way up to $1,850. Who doesn't love some free money? Who doesn't love some free stocks? Because essentially that is exactly what it is. Well, with that being said, let's go ahead, let's jump straight into it, and let's see what all is going on with 88 Energy, ticker symbol EEENF. Well, as we can see here, it says the Merlin 1 presents its challenges, but a wild card emerges for 88 Energy. So one thing you will notice with this news is people are kind of making it out to be absolutely terrible, and it's not the worst news ever. It definitely could have been a lot worse. There's some good, there's some bad to it, but overall it is not what we hoped for, and as someone who is trying to do a short-term trade on this stock, it's definitely not great news for me personally. So what we're going to go ahead and do for the next like 2 or 3 minutes, I'm just going to be reading through this. I'm not going to read every single paragraph, but I'm going to read a good bit of it just to get a good idea and to present you all the information that's here, and then I will go over exactly what I think this means and what I am expecting from this company going forward. So if you already read this article, maybe skip like 2 or 3 minutes, because we're just going to be going into this for a second here. So just for a brief update, as we do remember, Merlin 1 is the well that is going to be located on Project Peregrine, and that is what many people were excited about. 88 Energy announced that they were going to do be doing some preliminary drilling to kind of test it, to get some samples to see what exactly they had in their hands. They said that there was potential that this was a hydrocarbon bearing zone, and if that was the case, then it was going to be very valuable. And so they were going in for the first time in this well to kind of see what exactly was down there and if it was actually going to be worth as much as they hoped it would. There were some problems that arise during that initial drilling, and that we will go over right now. So the good news is that 88 Energy informed the market today that the first run of the wireline program identified multiple prospective zones consistent with the shows and logs obtained whilst drilling. The second run of the program was designed to take some samples across these zones, and initial observations indicated the presence of an oil signature in the fluid using an optical fingerprint sensor in the downhole sampling tool after communication was established with the reservoir in the deepest zone of interest. So that's great. That's great news. They started to get some of the drilling done. They went there, identified that there was going to be some of the presence of oil in which they were looking for, of course. So that's definitely a good thing. And then they went in, they collected some samples, and everything seemed to be running smooth. And then this is where it got rough. A power outage due to equipment failure necessitated pulling out of the hole for repairs prior to any sample being obtained. After repairs were complete, the run back in the hole encountered several sticky sections indicating poor hole condition, so a clean out run was undertaken. Re-entry with the sampling tool was then executed to move to the lowest zone for testing, but good communication was not able to be re-established with the reservoir despite observation of a similar hydrocarbon signature on the optical fingerprint sensor. So that kind of sucks, because it seems like they were just starting to kind of figure it all out. They're like, okay, well, we tried to go back in there, and then it's sticky and it's a mess, so we gotta clean it out. Then they clean it out, they try to go back in there, and now there's no communication. So it just seems like it was just problem after problem after problem, in which you can expect problems, but it kind of stinks when all your solutions just lead to more problems. But it does seem like, as they do say here, despite there was an observation of a similar hydrocarbon signature, so that basically means that they are finding the things in which they're looking for, but the issue is they're just having loads of technical issues there. So the time in the hole had been open, and consequent potential formation damage may have contributed to this issue, but it seems like they are still running tests to try to figure out what exactly they can do to get over this problem. Well, from that point, management then decided to move to the next shallowest prospective zone that had exhibited good oil shows and petrophysical characteristics, but on that occasion, wellbore condition issues prevented a test. So it's just like, it was just, you ever have those days days where you're late to work, and then you leave, and then like your belt loop gets stuck on the door, and then you get your belt loop off the door, then you get to your car and realize you forgot your lunch, then you come back inside to realize you forgot your keys in the car, then you get inside, and then you get everything you need, and then on the way to work you hit every single red light that there is. That's the day that 88 Energy just had. It was like every single time they would have a new solution or they would fix one problem, there was another problem. And it's rough. It sucks. But at the end of the day, there's only so much they can do to control this. But going forward, hopefully they do find some solution. So going forward, it says the testing of these zones would have been the ideal outcome, but management said that the prospect of a discovery cannot be discounted. However, analysis of sidewall cores and potential further drilling may be required for confirmation. So going forward, they do believe that they still have found the things in which they're looking for, but the issue is they need to, they need that confirmation. They need to get their samples, and they need to do all of the things to confirm it in order to really start to put money into this area, because of course they don't just want to just go headfirst into something without true confirmation, right? It is now too late in the season to initiate flow testing operations, and the forward program will consist of plugging the well, which sucks. Although if warranted, it may be re-entered in the future to drill a side track and conduct a flow test. So that's definitely not the best news right there. I wish it wasn't so late in the season so they could kind of just reevaluate and then go in and then do a flow test and really start to be able to take advantage of this well while they have a lot of hype right now, because that's where a lot of the hype is. So it does suck. I would say that's about the worst news that we're going to get out of this, simply for the fact that they are going to have to plug the well, and considering that is where a lot of this hype was coming from, I think that's going to have its impact for sure, but we'll talk about that in a second. Now, a saving grace and a very potential wild card, as we did see from the title of this article, is the fact that they actually did find 2 zones that could be highly valuable in the future that they're going to be testing soon. One of the zones tested during the Merlin 1 program is considered to be a new prospective horizon within the Nanushuk formation that may be wholly within the Project Peregrine acreage and was not one of the pre-drill targets. So that means basically that they came across some, this piece of land that may have a lot of potential, and they didn't even initially intend to even find this land. It kind of just came out of nowhere, so it could have been a little bit of a saving grace there. The other zone is interpreted to be shared with one of the zones in the Harrier prospect to the north of Merlin. So hopefully, as we do go forward, if the Merlin 1 well does continue to give them issues, that going forward, that these other 2 little zones right here, that they may provide them with a lot of the value, or they might provide them with opportunity to, show investors and show consumers and show all of these different people like, hey, look, I know we had problems with Merlin 1 well, but check these 2 out. You know what I mean? So that's kind of just a hope, and that's all very speculative. We are going to need more information. I think going forward, they are going to provide us with more information, but it's definitely something to keep an eye out on, and I think that's going to be super duper important going into the future. So with all of this news, what does this do for the company? What does this do for investors? And what does this do for me? Right now, the reason I got into this stock, I was going to do a midterm trade. My midterm trades are usually like 2 or 3 months. The reason I thought that this was going to be a good play was because I think that transportation is really starting to increase. Vaccinations are picking up heavily at the moment. I mean, we saw 4 million vaccinations in a single day on Saturday. And so with all of that information, with transportation increasing, with oil prices increasing, I mean, the WTI crude index has been doing absolutely phenomenal. And with all of that, I was like, I think oil prices are going to continue to grow. I think that these oil and gas exploration companies are going to continue to do well. And considering the fact that they have this new well that they think has a lot of potential, well, I think people are going to continue to be excited about it. I think that increase in oil and gas prices, on top of the new hype that's going to be forming around this Merlin 1 well, as well as a bunch of different YouTubers talking about them, the stock to its community growing, I was like, you know what, I think this is good for about a month or 2. I'm going to reevaluate in 2 months. If it's still doing well, I may stick in, but if there's bad news, then I may have to reconsider this investment, because at the end of the day, this isn't the best oil and gas company to be into. I mean, realistically, there's better ones. I mean, I think there's more established ones, but risk versus reward, this was definitely one that was worth the risk. So whenever it comes to me, I did set a stop loss of 20% on my initial investment, and I do believe that if the market takes this news bad, there's very high potential it could fall that far, and if that is the case, I will allow my position to close. I'm honestly not too stressed about it. Now, whenever we do take a look, we'll just kind of go over the stock charts and we'll just see what happens. This could be one to reevaluate in the future here. Now, because one thing that I always say, just because I exit a position doesn't mean I'm out of it forever, right? Sometimes there are just better places that I can put my money while a stock might be falling, or while we're waiting on a good catalyst, or while we're waiting for any reason for a stock to hit some resistance or hit a bottom. And so just because, I exit a position or I allow my position to close itself, that doesn't mean I'm out forever. I just think there's better places to put my money, and there's no point in me just holding on to something if I think there's better places to put it, right? So with that information, I honestly wouldn't be surprised to see this. I'm expecting market opens in about an hour, and I'm expecting this one to get pretty bloody. Now, I think the good news, and I think the news about everything going on with their 2 new wells, and the fact that this isn't, what's the way to put this? It's not like there's a problem with the well. It's not like they went into the well and there's like, yeah, there's nothing here. They went into the well, they were like, oh, dang it, like, we're finding the things we need, but we're having technical issues. And the fact that it's technical issues, those can be fixed. The issue is the fact that it's going to take so long. People are very like short term, you know, people are very like, I want this now, that instant gratification. And I think that is going to be really what drives the stock price down. I think eventually, as the Merlin 1 well, as they do figure everything out with it, as they continue on Project Peregrine and they get this thing going, I think that would be good for the company. And I think we will probably start to see the stock price grow again. But until then, if this thing does fall 20% or 30, 40, 50%, I will allow that position to close and I will look for other trades, you know, and then when the time does come that things start to look around for them, as we continue to maybe get some good news, this thing maybe hits a bottom or troughs out, then that could be a good time to re-enter on this position and look for those gains that I initially thought were possible. So that being said, that is pretty much about it for today's video. I can't think of anything else that I really wanted to talk about. It was really just me more focusing on the fact that people kind of were doing this a lot, like they were making this out to be horrible news, you know. I think, again, like I just said, if they went into Merlin 1 well and be like, dude, there's like nothing here, that would have been bad. That would have been pretty bad, because that's what their overall company is based around, oil and gas exploration. So if they don't find anything, then people don't care, right? But the fact that they did have some success, but they had technical issues, isn't the worst thing ever. I just think short term for the stock, definitely not too good. So that being said, I hope you guys did enjoy today's video. If you did, you can let me know by smashing that like button and subscribing to the channel if you are new. That being said, I do post on this channel 2 to 3 times every single day, and I hope to see you all very, very soon. Peace.